Right, hey everybody. I'm going to try something new. I'm going to go over last week's assignments and this week's assignments and post this to the announcement section. And then when we get to the Kaiser Live, I can just go straight into the lecture for the week. Alright, so for last week's assignments, many of you waited to the last minute to get your assignments in. I would suggest not to do that. It doesn't allow for any technicalities or technical difficulties. It doesn't allow me to respond to your discussion post to get you back on track if that's what you need. So do not wait at the last minute. So what I'm going to do first is go over some of the APA resources. So if you go to Program Resources, click on APA resources, then you will see you have the template which shows you when it loads. It shows you what a paper, a written assignment should look like. So as you're writing your week 1 written assignment, you should have a title page similar to this, and you do not need the abstract for the title page for the written assignment, nor do you need it for the discussions. You don't need the title page for the discussions at all. Then you have the body of your paper. This should contain your in-text citations, and what the in-text citation does is tell your reader that you're utilizing somebody else's information and to make your point. Then corresponding to that citation, there's a reference. That reference tells your reader where to go to find more information on that subject. So you're basically just giving that person credit for their research or their information that you're using. You don't need a conclusion in the written assignment or in the discussion. Now, on the written assignment, you need a separate references page. The title page should be separate on the written assignment, as well as the references page. Those should be on individual pages. And this is where you would put your references that correspond with your in-text citations. If you have the reference listed, you should have an in-text citation in your body. If you have an in-text citation in your body, you should have a reference down below. So again, for the discussions, all you need is your post with in-text citations. At minimum, it should be your textbook because you're utilizing information from there. And you should also have a corresponding reference down below on your discussion. On the written paper, you need a separate title page, the body of your paper, and then a separate reference page. Okay, so let's go back to Blackboard real quick. Then here you can see references and citations. So I'm going to go over really quick. How to format at least your textbook. So if you go to this section in Blackboard, again, it's right here. It says references and citations. Click on that. It will download the PowerPoint presentation, and then go to slide 6, which is a book with 2 authors, which is what your textbook is. And here you will see that they list in the reference, they have the last name and the initials of the authors, the ampersand sign if it's in this case 2 authors instead of and, you put the ampersand sign, the next author, and it should go alphabetically or as it's listed, as it's listed on the book, and then your publishing date, the title of the text, and then where it's published and by whom. Alright, so if you notice the second line and the second line of the reference is indented 5 spaces, that's how it should look. So your first line should be left justified, your second line of your reference should be indented 5 spaces. The in-text citation will look like this. It would be in parentheses that it says the last name of the first author, the ampersand, the last name of the second author, and the publishing date. That's what should come after the information that you utilized from their textbook. And then you can see some rules down below, like use the ampersand instead of and. The author's names are written in the same order as they appear on the book, as I've stated. Use the word and if the author's names are included in a sentence in the text. So if you say Mitchell and Aaron, you would spell out the and not use the ampersand. So if you say Mitchell and Aaron state, that's what you use. Alright, so we've covered that. So I expect to see everybody at minimum in their discussions have the textbook referenced as well as cited, because now I've shown you how to do that, so I do expect you to do that. There's also a video down here. The guy's voice is very bland, but he brings up what you need to know about APA. It tells you how to set up the paper, tells you how to cite, tells you how to reference, all of it. Okay. So let's go to week 1, go over the assignments real quick. Alright, so your discussion questions for the week. The first one was learning to think like a healthcare professional. So many of you did pretty well on this. Where you're losing points on the discussion is your spelling and grammar, as well as not posting at least 100 words per post. So each post should have at least 100 words in the post. That's the first section of the rubric. Then what I do is I go back to see if you're reading my replies to you, to see if you're going back to look up or go where I've directed you to go to get the full credit, and then whether you responded to my post. If that's the case, and you're still off track, I'll respond again, trying to get you back. If you've responded correctly, I'll usually say, hey, good job, or I may not say anything at all. Just depends on time-wise. I try to respond to everything. And so on this one, a lot of you told me how to act like a professional, but you didn't tell me how to think like a professional. So I tried to redirect you, and most of you read my post, went back, looked at it, and then reposted or replied to my post, getting the answer correct. Some of you did not. Some of you did not read my post and did not respond to my post. So if you do that, you're going to lose credit because you did not thoroughly answer the question, and that's why I try to do that, so that you can get the full credit. On the second post, many of you did well on this one. Some of you forgot what was most beneficial to the patient. Not healthcare, but the patient. Now the written assignment. Many of you have already sent me, you submitted your papers to the OWL for review and have received them back. And many of you have forwarded those emails to me, and I thank you for that. What I would say to that is make sure that you're looking at the suggestions that the OWL have made, you're incorporating them into your final draft, and make sure that your final draft is in Word. When you submit it to the OWL, it should already be in Word. However, I've noticed quite a few comments from the OWL stating that you submitted the paper without it being in Word format. So make sure that it is in Word format, or you will not be able to upload it in Blackboard for me to grade. So when you get the email back from the OWL with the suggestions, forward it to me so I can put it into your file, so that when I grade it, I have proof and I can see that you've incorporated the changes, that you've looked at them and incorporated them into your paper. And then make sure that you are looking at the changes and incorporating those into your paper. Now for the quiz. Many of you did pretty good on this. There were a couple things that came up during the quiz. Let me move this real quick. I don't know that my edit mode is on. Okay, and for the quiz, I have answered the questions that were incorrect, or I put the correct answer as well as the page number that you can go look for that. I don't have the time to go over all those, so make sure that you look at that and know the information. Remember, we're learning for mastery, not for memorization. And many of you did the extra credit. I've already graded those and provided the credit. Make sure that you're giving specific examples of what's in the Kaiser Live presentation. Alright, so let's go over week 2 real quick. Week 2, your reading assignment is going to be chapters 9, 10, and 11. We're going to cover body mechanics, infection control, and environmental safety this week. All very, very important topics for healthcare. Your discussion questions for the week. Chapter 1 discusses thinking like a professional. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Discussion 2. Chapter 10 discusses infection control and its importance. In your own words, what is the importance of infection control in the healthcare arena? Based on what you've read from the book, tell me in your own words what infection control and the importance of it means in the healthcare arena. Then at least one way that you can help break each, and I emphasize each, element in the chain of infection. So, if you look at chapter 10, you will see an illustration of the chain of infection. It shows each link within the chain, and to the side of each link there are several ways of breaking that individual link. What I need to know is I want you to identify the link, each link, and then one way of breaking that link. So if it's a reservoir host, I need to know, well, how are you going to break that reservoir host? Then the next one is maybe route of transmission. Then I need to know how you're going to break the route of transmission. But I want you to identify each link and one way of breaking each link. Okay? And I will go over this in Kaiser Live tonight, but I wanted to go over it here, so in case you're just looking at the next week. The response 2, we need to review the most common types of healthcare hazards on page 269. What does environmental safety mean based on your reading? In all honesty, how do you think you might react to workplace violence, such as being cursed at or spoken to in a loud, demeaning manner? Do you feel that your reaction to workplace violence is appropriate and professional? Any suggestions on how to properly respond to workplace violence? So that's what I want to see in your post. And again, if I see that you're off by any way, that I will respond to your post and try to get you back on track and try to direct you to the area in the textbook that you need to be. Again, if you guys have anything, please contact me, especially if you feel that you're going to be late or if you are ill. Just give me a call or send me an email saying, hey, I'm ill, I'm having problems getting my assignments done. I can talk to you via email or over the phone, and we can set up some kind of system or program to have you either submit it late or whatever we need to do. But I need to know before the due date. If you tell me on the due date, I'm not going to be able to extend the assignment. I need to know before. Again, there are extenuating circumstances, you're in a car accident, something like that. I get that. But again, that goes back to waiting to the last minute too. You want to get things submitted as soon as possible so that you do not run into certain problems. And what I will say about the spelling, I'm going to do an individual video on how to submit your discussions via Word, but read them out loud so that see if they make sense. All right? Have a good day.